Hey everybody, it's Tia DeShay, and this is a Mirrored Moments message with Tia DeShay entitled Return to Sender. Today is Friday, January the 13th, 2023. I am Tia DeShay. I write now so others can remember later. I produce Purpose from Chaos. I am a spiritual teacher for social, generational, and personal change. It is my intention to fulfill the scriptural mandate of Jeremiah 1:9. Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my mouth and said to me, I have put my words in your mouth. In Revelation 10:11, then I was told, you must prophesy again about many peoples, nations, languages, and kings. It is my prayer for Matthew, the 13th chapter and the 35th verse to unfold in my life, ministry, and practice. So was fulfilled and was spoken through the prophet. I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things hidden since the creation of the world. Once again, I am Tia DeShay. This is a Mirrored Moment message with Tia DeShay. The title of this message is Return to Sender. And we're going to cover why your working didn't work, or some will refer to it as a spell or your magic, why it didn't work. Okay. And it was inspired by, I subscribed to a YouTuber known as or named Ariel Gatoga. Ariel, that's the first name, Gatoga, Gatoga. And he has a video about, it's entitled like why my spell didn't work. Okay. And I listened to it, and some more information came to me regarding this topic. So, for one reason, I will say this: every working works. Every every working works. Now, I use the word working. You can use spell or magic or intention, but every working works. You are going to get a response or result in some way, shape, or form of your working. Now, the the key, or I guess the challenge, is you feel like you didn't get what you wanted, or you didn't get the full manifestation of it. You got a little bit of it, but you didn't get the full booyah of that working, or at least you thought you didn't. So that goes into one reason why. It's a matter of perception. You may think that you should have gotten more from it, but what it is, you really received what you have the capacity to handle at the time. So whatever your particular working was or is, you received what you are able to hold or manage at the time, what you are capable of managing, what you are capable of handling. You got what you needed, what you are capable of being accountable for, of being accountable for, of being responsible for. So in your mind, you may have pictured this grand scheme of things or these grand results. However, and you're disappointed that you didn't get how you envisioned it, but you got what you needed. You got what you could handle, what you have the capacity to be accountable for at the moment. Okay. Next one is intention. Did you even have an intention for it? Was that intention aligned with God's perfect will for your life? Therefore, once again, you may have gotten some results, maybe not what you wanted because it was not in alignment with God's perfect will for your life. You received results that were in alignment with God's will for your life. And also, if the spell or the working was for someone else, then it was in perfect alignment for God's will for their life. For instance, if you did some type of hexing or cursing or banishing, and we're going to talk about that, working, they received what they could handle at that moment, at that time. Because God, in God's infinite wisdom and grace and mercy, will only allow things for that a person can handle. That won't totally destroy them. Because even in cursing and hexing, we are taught that you curse and hex to the equivalent of to what that person did to you. So it's very rare. Well, I'll put it this way. If a person lied on you and it cost you your job and your reputation, okay? You should not be performing what the equivalent to that as far as a cursing and hexing spell is not to kill the person. That goes against universal laws and spiritual laws. You're not going to say, I want this person dead, because they didn't kill you. Now, they may have caused some discomfort and some irritability for a moment, but they didn't kill you. So to say, oh, I'm going to do this hexing and this cursing to kill them, it's not an equal equivalent. Now, you may do something where their lies now are returned back to them, and they now feel the consequences of being lied on. You may return back to them, losing money. Now they know how it feels to lose money, but not killing. So even when you're doing cursing and hexing, it's an equal equivalent. And you may remember, it's a matter of perception. You may think that, oh, I didn't get all that I wanted, but they got what they could handle at the time. They got the equal equivalent of what you experience. It's called justice. See, we want fairness, but when we're dealing with workings in spirit, it's about justice. It's not giving people what they deserve. Or what we think they deserve. It's giving them justice. It's executing justice. It's because justice is restoring balance and harmony. It's not necessarily about fairness, because ultimately we want to restore the balance and the harmony. Because this person came in and they caused chaos and discord, and they created drama, and they created chaos and discord, and they created an imbalance. They disturbed the peace and the harmony. So you're coming in to bring in balance and to restore that balance and harmony. So you're giving them what they deserve, not necessarily what you think is fair. You're giving them what they are capable of handling. Because in your mind, you may have wanted their entire world to fall apart. But what happened, you may not think what they got was enough, but it is enough. It may really be causing them all kind of havoc and discord and discombobulation mentally, physically, emotionally. And to you, it may look like, oh, that's nothing, but that's in your eyes. To you, it may not be nothing because it would be nothing to you. If it happened to you, it would knock you off your square. But to them, it's knocking them off their square. It's really causing a tower moment. Things are really falling apart. So you have to look at it from that perspective. What is it that they have the capacity to handle? And in their world, what is occurring to them is a whole lot. If you whatever, curse or hex you send to them, that's really causing damage. In your eyes it may not seem like it, but it really is to them, and that's justice. You're thinking, oh, that little thing, but you don't know the ramifications of that little thing. Okay, so that's another way to look at it when you think, oh, my spell didn't work, I didn't get the results that I wanted. Also, let's talk about banishing that I learned from Ariel Gatoga. Banishing is, okay, you banish something, but then it comes right back. And when he said this, I should have known this because I say it all the time, that nature abhors a vacuum, that nature does not like empty spaces. That is why you can go anywhere in the world and there's not an empty space. It's filled with something. So, you can tear a building down today and it's just a field of dirt. And I can guarantee you come back a year later and it's filled with foliage. It's filled with all kind of plant life. We may call it weeds, but it's plant life. It'll be vegetation. You'll have some type of insects or wildlife living there. It won't remain empty for long. Until man decides to build another property or structure or home on that particular piece of land, trust me, nature is going to fill that space up with nature. Nature will do what nature does. And I should have known this when he said that when you banish something, you have to replace it. I should have known this too. I say it all the time with sage. People burn sage all the time, but what they don't tell you is that sage removes all of the energy, both good and bad. Now you have to replace it with something. You have to now speak into that space and say what you want that space to be now. Otherwise, it's a free for all. Anything can come up into that space. Any energetic entity, energetic frequency can come up in that space and wreak havoc on your life, or wreak havoc on your life. So banishing, when you banish something, you have to say what you want it replaced with. And so now that I understand that, there are things that I have done workings for to banish, and now I know they're not coming back because I now said what I wanted to be replaced with. So that's another reason why you're not getting the full manifestation of your working, or you feel like it's coming back to you void. Let me tell you something. The word says that, I believe it's in Numbers, that God's word will not return void, that God is not a man that can lie. You are God. You are a manifestation of God in the earth. Your word is not going to return void. So any type of working that you do, and you're speaking your petition, you're speaking an incantation, you're speaking what you want, is not going to return void. You're not going to get nothing. It's not, you're not going to get nothing. Double negative. It's not like you're not going to get anything in return. You will get something in return. The thing is, we're looking at it saying, oh, but I didn't get what I expected, what I really wanted. You got what you were capable of handling at that moment. Also, you have to remember that, Ariel Gatoga, in his video, he said it, that a lot of times we do workings and we want these big things, but we have to get the little things first before we get the big thing. And so that's what I mean about you get what you are capable of handling or being responsible for at the time. You will receive the big manifestation, but first you gotta take care of the things that are in between that big manifestation. You gotta take care of the things in between that, because it's steps that take you to the destination. You just don't get in your car and then you get out the car and you're at work or you're at the grocery store. No, you have to do things. There are steps that you have to take before you get to the grocery store, or before you get to work, or before you get to your grandmother's house. It's the same with your workings, with your magic, with your spells, however you want to call it, that there are things that have to happen in between. So that's another reason why you're thinking, oh no, I didn't get, I didn't get what I wanted. I wanted more than this. You got what you are capable of handling. And the other thing was, what did I put down? I talked about banishing. So remember, you have to tell what you want in replace, in replace of what you want to get rid of. Because it's just, I have seen it so many times in my life. Like if I clean out my closet, I'm telling you, if I were to clean out my closet today, within a week's time, 2 weeks' time, I'm going to get something to replace it. If I was to go through my house and clean and do a major cleaning and throw things out, I'm telling you, those things that I threw out will be replaced, because nature abhors a vacuum. So when you're doing banishing and you want the full manifestation of it, say what you want to banish, what you want to get rid of, what you want to cancel, what you want to delete, but you must say what you want in place of it. Otherwise, Spirit will honor your request. Spirit will banish whatever it is that you want banished, but it'll keep coming back because you never said what you wanted in replace. You never said what you wanted to replace that thing with. That's why you could banish a person and then they keep coming back, because you didn't say what you wanted in replacement of that person. Okay, and the next one is original. I put on here original roots. And I'm speaking to my black folks because I'm black. The reason why we don't see the fullness of our manifestations is because we're not working with our ancestors, our immediate ancestors. We have totally, and what I mean by that is that we have totally disregarded their traditions and their customs and what they did and practiced when they were alive. We want to, once we become spiritually awake, we want to disregard all that. and I'm talking to my black people, we want to forget about church, forget about the Bible. Oh, that's the white man's religion. That's, the slave religion. It was used to oppress us. And all of that may very well be true. I'm not disputing any of that. However, we are the only group of people that when we have a spiritual awakening, we disregard everything in our culture. We start embracing everything else. We'll start doing Reiki, and we'll start doing crystals and tarot, and we'll embrace all these other cultural spiritual practices, and we'll totally disregard our own. Not saying that Reiki and tarot card reading does not have roots in African culture, because it does. We may call it different names and different ideas and concepts, but it does. What I'm saying is that grandma, big mama, uncle, grandfather, great grandfather, father, mother, cousin were deacons. They were pastors. They were mothers of the church. They were nurses. They were prayers. And we totally disregard that. They sung in the choir. They were organists. We totally disregard all of that, because we don't think it has any place in what we're doing now, but it does. And that's what I mean about original roots and why your workings aren't working. Because we don't want to incorporate what our immediate ancestors did. And when it came to religion and Christianity, because we just so caught up on demonizing it, because it was used as a weapon against us. But we never sit back and get still enough and say, when we went to church, what is it that we liked about church? Despite the knowledge that we know, what is it that we liked about church? I know what I am enamored with, what I love about church to my bones. I love the music, and I love when they pray, and I love when the Holy Ghost comes, when the Holy Spirit falls. Those three things are amazing to me in the black church. Are amazing to me. I love it when the Holy Spirit falls upon the preacher or the pastor or the evangelist or the apostle or the minister or the reverend, whoever speaking, whatever title they may have. I love it. I love that feeling. Like, it cannot be described. Like, I have been in church services when the anointing fell, when the Holy Spirit came in that place, and I'm here to tell y'all, don't play with me. Say what you want, and I even make jokes about it, but I have been in services where I knew it was real, when I knew the presence of God was in that place, and I came out a different person. I've had that experience just in my house, just alone by myself, listening to gospel music. And I incorporate those things in my working. I incorporate the Bible. Yes, I use other modalities that come from other cultures, but my main modality, where I am committed to, that I love, and that is like at the forefront of what I do, is praying, the Bible, and gospel music. And black people, we run away from it. As soon as we get a spiritual awakening, we want to do all this other stuff. We want to get into astrology and astronomy, and we want to get into planets and the zodiac and crystals and Reiki and mushrooms and tarot and divination, and we forget all about Big Mama, Big Mama's magic, or Big Mama's the way she did her workings when she used to get up when everybody else was asleep and pray, whether it was late at night or early morning. We forget all about that. Or when Big Mama would sit or grandfather would sit and read the Bible and preach the word on Sunday. Or when cousin would get up in the choir and sing and just have people on their knees crying because his or her voice was just so powerful. We forget about all of that. We forget about, turning on, the radio, or our phones now, and going on to a music streaming service outlet, and whether it's Spotify or iTunes, and throwing on some Clark Sisters and the Winans, or CC Winans, or Karen Clark Shield, or Smokey Norfolk, or Tasha Cobbs, like, and just playing the music and hearing our ancestors. And then we wonder why our workings aren't working, because we've ignored all of that. Oh, there's no power in that because that came from the white man in slavery. And so we bypass our immediate ancestors and start incorporating all this other stuff, and we wonder why we're not realizing the full manifestation of who we are. And we're the only culture that does that. Asians, Latinos will remain committed to Catholicism, to Middle Eastern uh, spirituality. Even Africans will remain committed to their indigenous practices, but African Americans, oh, we don't want to have nothing to do with Jesus and the Bible and gospel music and praying. We don't want to have nothing to do with that. And we wonder why our workings aren't working. Or I won't say aren't working to their fullest potential. Because our ancestors, if they went to church, they gonna respond to the word, the Bible. So when we include Bible verses in our workings, our ancestors cannot work for us because they're familiar with that. Remember, it's a hierarchy. Our ancestors are our first line of defense, our immediate ancestors. Before we even get to the deities and the angels and the archangels and the powers and the principalities, it's our ancestors. They are the ones that are interceding for us at the throne of grace. And you talking about speaking, you using all of these terms that they aren't even familiar with. They don't know what you're talking about, but they're gonna respond to the word. But yet you want to dismiss that because of the hang-ups you have about it. Because now you've been enlightened and you've learned some information, and now you don't want to use it no more. Well, that's why your workings ain't working. Or I should stop saying it. That's why you're not getting the full manifestations of your workings. They're not working to their fullest potential. I just had a moment today. For some reason, I wanted to hear some gospel music. So I put on the Winans. I put on the Clark Sisters, their very first album. And man, let me tell you, like, it took me back. And I also got some creative ideas. And you'll see soon what that creative idea was, what came out of that. Not saying working with other deities is not important. I mean, Black people so hung up on working with deities and orishas that you forget about your immediate ancestors. And you want to just disregard all of their religious and spiritual practices that actually work. All right, and then the next one is you talk too much. No one should know what working you're working on. No one. No one. If there is a scripture in the Bible, Jesus says it, where about praying, how you don't be like the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the leaders of the day. Don't be out there, standing on the street corner praying in your loud voice, for everybody to hear so you could be seen. Let's translate that to 2023. Don't be posting on social media, oh, today I'm doing this grand ritual working, with the planet Venus, and I'm calling on this particular deity, and I'm wearing this particular garb, and I'm sprinkling this incense, and I'm saying this incantation, and every time you doing the work, and that's what you're doing, you posted it on social media. And then you wonder why it's not working. You taking pictures of your altar. You're taking pictures of your working. And you wonder why it's not working. Jesus clearly told us that what you do in secret for your Father, you will be rewarded openly. Learn to shut up. No one should know what you're doing. They should only know the results of your workings. That's it. That's all. So this has been a Mirrored Moment message with Tia DeShay about return to sender. The title of this Mirrored Moments message was Return to Sender. Why some of us feel that when we're doing workings is being returned to sender. We're not, it's not getting picked up on the other end. It's just like a letter. You send it and someone sends it back and says, oh, this person doesn't live here. I don't know who this is. This doesn't belong to me. So I'm returning it to point of origin. A lot of us feel like that with our workings, that we sent it to the spirit realm and it was sent right back to us like, oh, we don't know who you are. We don't know who this is. What is this and what do you want? We don't know. So we're going to return it back to you. And I gave you in this video briefly why you feel like that's happening to you and what is really happening, what you think is happening and what is really happening. So something to meditate on, something to think about, make some adjustments, so you can get the full manifestation of your working. And just know that it's about, remember, we are practitioners that practice. Practice is actually a law, a divine law, a spiritual law of practicing. You got to keep practicing to strengthen yourself, to strengthen your spiritual muscles, to strengthen your workings. You got to practice. And that you're not going to get it all at once. There are steps that need to take place, there are boxes that need to be checked before you receive what it is that you want. But please believe you're going to get what you ask for. You're going to get what you ask for. It may not be how you thought it was going to look or how it should be, but you're going to get what you ask for. And it's about, not getting all in your feelings. And it's not about taking offense to it. It's about being grateful, first of all, being thankful, like, okay, I see some results. Okay, all right, thank you. And then improving on that. Don't act like a little child. You don't get what you want, then you throw in a temper tantrum. That's why you got what you got. because spirit could see through all of that. And maybe you needed to work out the ego and you needed to work out the selfishness before you get the full manifestation. But you get the full manifestation. It's just about clarity. If you got everything that you wanted the first time you did the working, then you would never grow. You would never grow as a practitioner. And the purpose is to grow and to evolve and to strengthen. And to say, okay, I'm going to add this next time, or I'm going to take this away next time. It's just like cooking. It's just like a recipe. You do it until you just perfect it, until it comes out the way you want it every single time. You got to keep doing, you got to keep making that dish. You got to keep creating that recipe. And it was something else that I wanted to say. It came to my mind as I was talking about this, about us doing the workings. I don't know. But it's about, definitely about, you're not going to be this, just master worker. Oh, I know what it is. This master worker overnight. It takes practice. It takes years and years and years and years and years. And it takes education. Unfortunately, a lot of people in this community think that they just gonna be self-taught. And I'm not saying that you can't be self-taught, but you need some type of education to sit underneath a master, or if you want to call it a master teacher, to sit underneath a mentor, an enlightened one, is very, very important in this journey. Very, 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 very important. Education is important. Initiation is important. And I don't mean necessarily a formal initiation. There is a difference between an initiate and a TikTok spiritualist, a YouTube spiritualist. You need to read. You need to be under the guidance of an elder. Those things are important. Education is important. And I did a video on that on my YouTube. I don't know what it is, the name of the video, but I mentioned that, like, if the person that you're going to, your spiritual counselor or social worker or whoever it is, however you want to call it, if they're not constantly educating themselves, reading, learning, taking classes, you should run far, far away from them. And the final thing that I want to say about the working, and you will get caught up, when you're watching like YouTube and TikTok and even on Pinterest, and you see all of these beautiful workings. Everything is so beautiful. The herbs are laid just right on the candle. The intention candles are so pretty with all these herbs and flowers and crystals in it. Let me tell you something. It don't always look like that. When our great grandparents were on the plantation conjuring, you think they were concerned about presentation? Do you think when they were getting the blood of a chicken or whatever roots they were gathering to do the working, do you think they was worried about presentation and making it look pretty? No, they needed some results. So they told you, they went and got a chicken and cut the head off and put some blood in a bottle and told you to go home and put that on your forehead. Do you think they was concerned with put it in a nice pretty bottle with a bow? Sometimes we can really get caught up on how things look, on, all of the aesthetics. And it can be pretty and not do nothing for you. It's just pretty and it smell good. And we're so caught up on that. And that goes back to studying and knowing your history. Because when you study, especially in hoodoo, when you study about the root workers in hoodoo, it wasn't about, oh, making it look pretty. They didn't have all the stuff that we have now. You can go on Amazon and order all kind of crystals. You can order all kind of candle wax. You can order all kind of fragrance oils. You can order all kind of dried flowers and make the most amazing and breathtaking candles that quote unquote are used for intentions, and they not do nothing for you because we get so caught up on presentation. Now, I'm not saying that you don't put your best foot forward and uh you don't execute excellence in your craft. But a lot of times we get so caught up on presentation because we see a TikTok video, because people are marketing and have all these beautiful backgrounds, and and the crystals are just right and the lighting is just right, and they not no more feeding into your soul than a man on the moon, but they have a pretty background. They got all the aesthetics and the visuals that make it look like they're so witchy and they're so spiritual. But not giving you no kind of information to change your life at all. But it looked pretty. So that's another thing when it comes to why am I not seeing the full manifestation of my working. Maybe you so caught up on appearance and what it looked like, instead of really focusing on what it is that you want and the intentions that you're setting. Everything just gotta look pretty because I gotta take a picture and put it on my Instagram. It's not gonna always look pretty. It's not. When our ancestors were doing this work, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't tied up with a pretty bow on it, but it did the job. When people came to Big Mama's house and came to our auntie's house and our grandma's houses and our mother's houses, knocking on the door, needing some type of working for some type of physical situation or mental or spiritual situation. Our mothers went into that kitchen, put something in a cloth or in a bag and handed it to them. And a lot of times it couldn't look pretty because you had to hide it so you wouldn't be caught by the slave master. So you put it in a cloth or in some brown paper bag and stuffed it in your pocket. Or they camouflaged it in everyday items such as oil lamps. You wouldn't think twice that an oil lamp burning, they were actually doing some conjuring and some root working with an oil lamp. You just thinking when you walked into the cabin that the oil lamp was there for lighting. So be mindful of that maybe you so caught up on presentation and things looking so pretty and for packaging and marketing, and that's why you're not getting any results. Because I'm here to tell y'all, I'm here to tell you, the things that I use now in my products are so going back to, not all of it, but a lot of it is just going back to the way the ancestors did it. But it's how we've been programmed. And I still do it. You, like when you buy a bar of soap, the first thing you do is you put it to your nose to see what it smells like. But technically, when our ancestors were making soap, like making soap, handmade soap. Like the soaps that I make is not really how the ancestors make it. Our ancestors made soap like from ash and lye, or yeah, from lye that came from ash. That's how you really make soap. Like they were making soap like that, and they weren't concerned about the scent. They were using herbs and stuff certain herbs to help change a situation in your life. And them herbs may not have smelled the best, but they incorporated in the soap and they gave it to you. But now the first thing we do, we put it to our nose and see if it smells good. Even though I know better, I have to break that habit. Or we get a candle, and the first thing we do with the candle, put it to our nose to see if what it smells like. I'm not saying that you cannot use smell to help manifest. Science has already proved that with aromatherapy. But before all of that, that wasn't our ancestors' main concerns when they were using oil lamps, that it smelled good. They just needed to change the situation. And remember, it was in secret. So they weren't trying to bring attention to their workings. That's why scent and making it look pretty was not a priority. We need to get back to the craft versus the commercialism and aesthetics of it, because we're seeing it being marketed. But yet those candles are pretty and they may be marketed as intention candles, but they're not doing nothing for you in real life. That aromatherapy that these companies sell, it just smells good. It ain't changed your life in no way, shape, or form. No way, shape, or form. It feel good for the moment. It smell good for the moment. But it ain't changed your life. It ain't changed your situation. It just took it off. It just took your mind off of it for a moment because of the scent. And now we're learning that a lot of the scented candles, a lot of the scented body washes have so many chemicals in it, it's causing cancer. It's not healthy for us to inhale. So be mindful of that as a practitioner. Not saying that you just throw something together for your clients or for yourself. Yes, you put your best into it, you do it with excellence, but it's not always about commercialism and aesthetics. It's about getting results. And so this has been a Mirrored Moments message with Tia DeShay about return to sender and about why we think that what we're doing as far as workings we're not seeing the results that we want. That's what this video was intended for, what it was about. And as always, remember to pay attention to what you don't see, because what you don't see will help you make sense of what you are seeing. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share this video, and so that other people can hear the message. Other people may need to hear this. So don't be shy in liking, subscribing, and sharing this content. And I am so thankful that I'm able to share this content with you. I am so, 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 so thankful. I don't take it for granted. And so this has been another Mirror Moment message with Tia DeShay. Today is Friday, January the 13th. 2023. It is now 5:25 p.m. Until next time, stay blessed and stay aware.